Shalom, shalom. Dang, she ran fast. Right. Hey, I know you seen that the other day. Yeah, I don't know, it was yesterday or 2 days ago. She popped in like 3, 4 times, kept sliding. Man, big one. I can't stand that, man. Don't be bearing false witness on me and then trying to invite me in y'all's rooms to gang up on me or whatever, so I can't talk and you mute me and whatever like last time. But I invite y'all to a reading room. Like, come on, man. I ain't even going on you like that. And in case you watched replays, Judah, we can still talk about that. You need to repent for your false witness.
Oh, you found out who said it?
What's up?
You found out who said it?
Yeah. Anyway, Lavanya, Shalom. Looks like we have a packed house tonight, y'all. You know how Friday nights are, though. If they ain't going to church, they going
Mm.
they going to the clubs.
It's
Shalom.
nothing but wickedness at the club.
Shalom wa barakah, mishpaka.
Shalom.
Barakah. Oh man, we already lost somebody. Oh, never mind. Is that everybody that wants to read today? Probably I'm gonna play one more song before we get started. See if any other people crawl up in here. All this wind. Flip to my pages. Alright, so we're gonna start. Chapter 13, 2 Kings. In the 23rd year of Jehoash, son of Ahaziah, king of Judah, Jehoash, son of Jehu, became king over Yasharal and Samaria, and reigned for 17 years. He did what was evil in the eyes of Yahweh. He went after the sins of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, that he caused Yasharal to sin. He did not turn aside from them. So Yahweh became angry with Yasharal, and he delivered them into the hand of Hazael, king of Aram, and into the hand of Hazael's son Ben-Hadad all the days of Jehoahaz. Shalom face. Jehoahaz pleaded before Yahweh, and Yahweh hearkened to him, for he had seen the oppression of Yasharal, for the king of Aram had oppressed them. So Yahweh supplied Yasharal with a savior, and they escaped from under the rule of Aram. The children of Yasharal dwelt securely in their homes as they had in the past. Nevertheless, they did not turn away from the sins of the house of Jeroboam, that he caused Yasharal to sin. He went in that path. Also an Asherah tree stood in Samaria. For Aram left no armed people to Jehoahaz, except for 50 horsemen, 10 chariots, and 10,000 foot soldiers. For the king of Aram had destroyed the rest, and made them like dirt to be trampled upon. The rest of the deeds of Jehoahaz, and all that he did, and his might, behold, they are recorded in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Yasharal. Jehoahaz lay with his forefathers, and they buried him in Samaria. His son Jehoash reigned in his place. In the 37th year of Jehoash, king of Judah, Jehoash, son of Jehoaz, began to reign over Yasharal and Samaria, and reigned for 16 years. He did what was evil in the eyes of Yahweh, and he did not turn away from all the sins of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, that he caused Yasharal to sin. He went in that path. The rest of the deeds of Jehoash, and all that he did and his might, how he fought against Amaziah, king of Judah, behold, they are recorded in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Yasharal. Jehoash lay with his forefathers, and his son Jeroboam sat on his throne. Jehoash was buried in Samaria with the kings of Yasharal. Elisha became ill with the disease from which he was to die. Jehoash, king of Yasharal, went down to visit him, and he cried before him and said, Father, Father, Yasharal's chariot and horsemen. Elisha said to him, Get a bow and arrows. So he took from him a bow and arrows. This wind is crazy. He then said to the king of Yasharal, Position your hand upon the bow. And he positioned his hand. Elisha placed his hand upon the hands of the king. He then said, Open the window toward the east. He opened it. Elisha said, Shoot. And he shot. Elisha said, It is an arrow of salvation unto Yahweh, and an arrow of salvation against Aram. You shall strike Aram at effect to utter destruction. Then he said, Take the arrows. And he took them. He said to the king of Yasharal, Strike them to the ground. And he struck 3 times, and he stopped. The man of Elohim became angry with him, and said, Were you to strike 5 or 6 times, you would have smitten Aram to utter destruction. But now you will strike at Aram only 3 times. Then Elisha died, and they buried him. It happened that troops from Moab would come into the land at the start of the year. Some people were burying a man, and just then they saw the troop coming. So they threw the man into Elisha's grave. The man's body rolled over and touched the bones of Elisha, and the man came back to life and rose up on his feet. It's wild. Elisha must have drank a lot of milk. Okay, verse 22. Hazael, king of Aram, oppressed Yasharal all the days of Jehoahaz, but Yahweh showed them grace and had mercy on them, and he was attentive to them because of his covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and he did not wish to destroy them. So he did not cast them away from his presence up to now. Hazael, king of Aram, died, and his son Ben-Hadad reigned in his place. Jehoash, son of Jehoahaz, returned and took back from Ben-Hadad, son of Hazael, the cities that Ben-Hadad had taken in battle from his father Jehoahaz. Jehoash struck him 3 times and retrieved the cities of Yasharal. Chapter 14. In the second year of Jehoash, son of Jehoahaz, king of Yasharal, Amaziah, son of Jehoash, king of Judah, became king. He was 25 years old when he became king, and he reigned for 29 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Jehoadan of Jerusalem. He did what was proper in the eyes of Yahweh, but not like his forefather David. He did everything as his father Jehoash had done. However, the high places did not cease. The people continued to sacrifice and burn incense at high places. It happened when the kingship was firmly in his power that he struck down his servants who had assassinated the king, his father. But he did not put to death the sons of the assassins, as it is written in the book of the Torah of Moshe, which Yahweh had commanded, saying, Fathers shall not be put to death because of sons, and sons shall not be put to death because of fathers. Rather, a man should be put to death for his own sin. He struck Edom at the valley of Salt, 10,000 men, and captured the rock in battle. He called its name Joktheel, which is its name to this day. Thereupon Amaziah sent messengers to Jehoash, son of Jehoahaz, son of Jehu, king of Yasharal, saying, Let us confront one another in battle. Jehoash, king of Yasharal, sent word back to Amaziah, king of Judah, saying, The thorn bush in Lebanon once sent word to the cedar of Lebanon, saying, Give your daughter to my son for a wife. The wild beasts of Lebanon then came by and trampled the thorn bush. You have routed Edom, so your heart became arrogant. Maintain your honor and stay at your home. Why should you provoke evil against yourself and be defeated, you and Judah with you? But Amaziah did not listen. So Jehoash, king of Yasharal, went up and they confronted one another. He and Amaziah, king of Judah, in Beth Shemesh, which is in Judah. Judah was defeated before Yasharal and they fled, each man to his home. Jehoash, king of Yasharal, captured Amaziah, king of Judah, the son of Jehoash, son of Ahaziah, in Beth Shemesh. He then came to Jerusalem, and he made a breach in the wall of Jerusalem, from the Ephraim gate to the corner gate, a distance of 400 cubits. And he took all the gold and silver, and all the articles that were found in the temple of Yahweh, and in the treasuries of the king's palace, along with the hostage children. And he returned to Samaria. The rest of the deeds of Jehoash that he did, and his might, and how he went to war against Amaziah, king of Judah, behold, they are recorded in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Yasharal. Jehoash lay with his forefathers and was buried in Samaria with the kings of Yasharal. His son Jeroboam reigned in his place. Amaziah, son of Jehoash, king of Judah, lived for 15 years after the death of Jehoash, son of Jehoahaz, king of Yasharal. The rest of the deeds of Amaziah, behold, they are recorded in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah. They organized a revolt against him in Jerusalem, so he fled to Lachish. But they sent after him to Lachish and killed him there. They carried him with horses, and he was buried in Jerusalem with his forefathers in the city of David. All the people of Judah then took Azariah, who was 16 years old, and crowned him in the place of his father Amaziah. He built up Elath after having retreated for Judah after the king lay with his forefathers. In the 15th year of the reign of Amaziah, son of Jehoash, king of Judah, Jeroboam, son of Jehoash, king of Yasharal, became king in Samaria and reigned for 41 years. He did what was evil in the eyes of Yahweh. He did not turn away from all the sins of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, that he caused Yasharal to sin. He restored the boundary of Yasharal from the approach of Hamath unto the sea of the Arabah, like the word of Yahweh, Elohim of Yasharal, which he had spoken by the hand of his servant Jonah, son of Amittai, the prophet, who was from Gath Hefer. For Yahweh had seen that Yasharal's suffering was very severe, with none surviving and none remaining, and there was no helper for Yasharal. But Yahweh did not say to erase the name of Yasharal from under the heavens. So he saved him through the hand of Jeroboam, son of Jehoash. The rest of the deeds of Jeroboam and all that he did, and his might that he performed in battle, and how he restored Damascus and Hamath to Judah with the army of Yasharal. Behold, they are recorded in the book of Chronicles of the kings of Yasharal. Jeroboam lay with his forefathers, the kings of Yasharal, and his son Zechariah reigned in his place. Chapter 15. In the
Can I make
27th year,
a point with
what's up?
that? Can I make a highlight
Oh,
of
yeah,
what
go
you
ahead.
just read? Yeah, like in verse 26, we see what was going on there. You had wicked Ahab in up in Samaria. You had the wicked king over there in well, Kazel had just took over now. Wicked, evil. Elijah had already told him to his face that he was gonna be taking out a lot of the northern kingdom. So that was prophesied, and now we see here in verse, where is it? In verse, we just missed it. Oh yeah, in verse 25. So now that we got the picture painted, right? We see what was going on. Yeah, Northern Kingdom is off the chain, whack with their Baal worshiping and all this stuff, and the whole Jezebel bit, and them killing off the priests, just a mess, right? So what is who did it tell you in verse 25? Yah sent which prophet? Jonah. Jonah, the son of Amittai. So this is something I've been trying to show people all these years, that Nineveh, Yah never made a covenant with other strange nations. Those Ninevites, the people in Nineveh were us in that kingdom at that time. And this is when Yah sent Jonah to them, and Jonah didn't want to go because he's from the southern kingdom, and that's why he was just kept refusing to go. He didn't. All of the southern kingdom wanted Yah to wipe out the northern kingdom at this point because they were so evil into the Baal worship and stuff. So I wanted to highlight that since we were here, so we can maybe do that one day. Talk about the book of Jonah. Are you?
All right, I'm back. I was getting me grab my plate.
I just yield, so you can continue. Thank you.
Okay. What verse was that you said you highlighted? I can get my pen too.
Verse 25, 25 and 26. Actually, 20 25, 26, 27. Those three verses lock it in basically what was going on there, and now Jonah is being sent.
Okay, I never really knew that Jonah was in this time. So that I always question what time he was in.
Time, praise yeah.
Learn something new every day. Okay. Chapter 15. In the 20th year of Jeroboam, king of Yasharal, Azariah, son of Amaziah, king of Judah, became king. He was 16 years old when he became king, and he reigned for 52 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Jecoliah of Jerusalem. He did what was proper in the eyes of Yahweh, entirely as his father Amaziah had done. However, the high places did not cease. The people continued to sacrifice and burn incense at the high places. Yahweh inflicted disease upon the king. He was a leper until the day of his death, and he dwelt in the place of asylum. Jotham the king's son was appointed over the palace, judging the people of the land. The rest of the deeds of Azariah and all that he did, behold, they are recorded in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah. Azariah lay with his forefathers, and they buried him with his forefathers in the city of David. His son Jotham reigned in his place. In the 38th year of Azariah, king of Judah, Zechariah, son of Jeroboam, became king over Yasharal, and reigned in Samaria for 6 months. Is that the same? Is it the prophet Zechariah, the same one?
Khan.
Okay.
Oh,
He
oh
did what
no,
was
no, not this Zachariah here. No,
okay. Yeah.
not this one. I think they had two Zacharias in the scriptures.
Okay. Cause I never remembered him being a king. So I was like,
Khan.
all right, good. Thanks for clarifying that. All right. He did what was evil in the eyes of Yahweh, as his forefathers had done. He did not turn away from the sins of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, that he caused Yasharal to sin. Shallum, son of Jabesh, conspired against him, and he struck him in front of the people, killing him, and he reigned in his place. The rest of the deeds of Zechariah, behold, they are recorded in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Yasharal. This was the fulfillment of the word of Yahweh that he had spoken to Jehu, saying, 4 generations of your descendants will sit upon the throne of Yasharal for your sake. And so it was. Shallum, son of Jabesh, became king in the 39th year of Uzziah, king of Judah, and he reigned for 1 month in Samaria. Menahem, son of Gadi, went up from Tirzah and came to Samaria, and he struck down Shallum, son of Jabesh, in Samaria, killed him, and reigned in his place. The rest of the deeds of Shallum and his conspiracy that he organized, behold, they are recorded in the books of the Chronicles of the kings of Yasharal. At that time, Menahem launched an attack from Tirzah against Tifsa, all that was in it and its outlying areas, because it would not capitulate. So he struck it down. He split open all of his pregnant women. In the 39th year of Azariah, king of Judah, Menahem, son of Gadi, became king over Yasharal, and reigned 10 years in Samaria. He did what was evil in the eyes of Yahweh. He did not turn away from the sins of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, that he caused Yasharal to sin all his days. Pul, king of Assyria, came upon the land, and Menahem gave Pul 1,000 talents of silver, that his hands should be with him, to secure the kingship in his hand. Menahem exacted the money with a tax upon Yasharal, upon all the powerful men of the army, to give 50 shekels of silver per person for the king of Assyria. The king of Assyria then went back. He did not remain there in the land. The rest of the deeds of Menahem and all that he did, behold, they are recorded in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Yasharal. Menahem lay with his forefathers, and his son Pekahiah reigned in his place. In the 50th year of Azariah, king of Judah, Pekahiah, son of Menahem, became king over Yasharal, and reigned in Samaria for 2 years. He did what was evil in the eyes of Yahweh, and he did not turn away from the sins of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, that he caused Yasharal to sin. His captain, Pekah, son of Ramaliah, conspired against him, striking him in Samaria in the hall of the king's palace, by the mansion and the lion. With him were 50 men of the Gileadites, and killed him and reigned in his place. The rest of the deeds of Pekahiah and all that he did, behold, they are recorded in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Yasharal. In the 52nd year of Azariah, king of Judah, Pekah, son of Remaliah, Shalom Miguel, became king. We're in verse 27 of chapter 15. In Pekah, son of Remaliah, became king over Yasharal, and reigned in Samaria for 20 years. He did that which was evil in the eyes of Yahweh. He did not turn away from the sins of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, that he caused Yasharal to sin. In the days of Pekah, king of Yasharal, Tiglath-Pileser, king of Assyria, came and took Nijon, Abel-Meth-Maacah, Genoa, Kadesh, Hazor, Gilead, and the Galilee, all the land of Naphtali, and he exiled them to Assyria. Hoshea, son of Elah, conspired against Pekah, son of Remaliah, and struck him and killed him, and he reigned in his place, in the 20th year of Jotham, son of Uzziah. The rest of the deeds of Pekah and all that he did, behold, they are recorded in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Yasharal. In the 2nd year of Pekah, son of Remaliah, king of Yasharal, Jotham, son of Uzziah, king of Judah, became king. He was 25 years old when he became king, and he reigned for 16 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Jerusha, daughter of Zadok. He did what was proper in the eyes of Yahweh, just as his father Uzziah had done. He did. However, the high places did not cease. The people continued to sacrifice and burn incense at the high places. He built the upper gate at the temple. He built the upper gate of the temple of Yahweh. The rest of the deeds of Jotham that he did, behold, they are recorded in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah. In those days, Yahweh began to incite Rezin, king of Aram, and Pekah, son of Remaliah, against Judah. Jotham lay with his forefathers, and was buried with his forefathers in the city of David, his forefather. His son Ahaz reigned in his place. Hey, Devon, do you want to take over 16?
God, that's crazy. You see how they were, the Northern Kingdom, they were just taking each other out left and right. No, I'm going to be the king. Nope, you're dead. I'm going to be the king. Nope, you're dead. No, I'm going to be. They
Ridiculous.
were crazy up there.
It's crazy. It's wild.
Woo, woo. No
Oh,
wonder y'all had to send Jonah to them.
right. Just straight pride and jealousy, basically. It's
Mm.
ridiculous.
Um, Second Kings chapter 16. I mean, Second Kings, yeah, chapter 16, verse 1. In the 17th, hold on. In the 17th year of Pekah, the son of Remaliah, Akaz, the son of Jotham, king of Judah, began to reign. 20 years old was Akaz when he began to reign, and reigned 16 years in Jerusalem, and did not that which was right in the sight of Yah, his Elohim, like David his father, but he walked in the way of the kings of Yasharel, yea, and made his son to pass through the fire, according to the abominations of the heathen, whom Yahweh cast out from before the children of Yasharel. And he sacrificed and burned incense in the high places, and on the hills, and under every green tree. Then Rezin king of Syria and Pekah son of Remaliah king of Yasharel came up to Jerusalem to war, and they besieged Akaz, but could not overcome him. And at that time Rezin king of Syria recovered Elath to Syria, and drove the Yahudites from Elath, and the Syrians came to Elath and dwelt there unto this day. So Akaz sent messengers to Tiglath-Pileser, king of Assyria, saying, I am thy servant and thy son. Hmm. Come up and save me out of the hand of the king of Syria, and out of the hand of the king of Yasharel, which rise up against me. And Akaz took the silver and gold that was found in the house of Yah, and in the treasures of the king's house, and sent it for a present to the king of Assyria. I mean, we're doing tributes here. The last guy sent away all kind of gold and stuff, and we just keep, it's like we're under tribute. And the king of Assyria hearkened unto him, for the king of Assyria went up against Damascus, and took it, and carried the people of it captive to Kir, and slew Rezin. And King Akaz went to Damascus to meet Tiglath-Pileser, king of Assyria, and saw an altar there that saw King Ahaz saw an altar that was at Damascus, and King Akaz sent to Uriah the priest the fashion of the altar and the pattern of it, according to all the workmanship thereof. And Uriah the priest built an altar according to all that King Akaz had sent from Damascus. So Uriah the priest, and here's a priest taking order from the king like that. So Uriah the priest made it against King Akaz, came came from Damascus. That read weird. Verse 12. And when the king was come to Damascus, the king saw the altar, and the king approached the altar and offered thereon. And he burnt his burnt offering and his meat offering, and poured his drink offering, and sprinkled the blood of his peace offerings upon the altar. Y'all see how the kings always, ever since David, the kings them approached the altar? And he brought also the brazen altar which was before Yah from the forefront of the house, from between the altar and the house of Yah, and put it on the north side of the altar. And King Akaz commanded Uriah the priest, saying, Upon the great altar burn the morning burnt offering, and the evening meat offering, and the king's burnt sacrifice, and his meat offering, with the burnt offering of all the people of the land, and their meat offering, and their drink offerings, and sprinkle upon it all the blood of the burnt offering, and all the blood of the sacrifice. And the brazen altar shall be for me to inquire by, he says. Ooh. Verse 16. Thus did Uriah the priest according to all that King Akaz commanded. And King Akaz cut off the borders of the bases. Wow. He took the legs off and removed the lava from off them, and took down the sea from off the brazen oxen that were under it. Shlomo made that. And put it on the and put it upon a pavement of stones. Wow. And the covert for the Shabbat that they had built in the house, and the king's entry without, turned he from the house of Yah for the king of Assyria. Whew. Now the rest of the acts of Akaz which he did, are they not written in the book of Chronicles of the kings of Yehudah? And Akaz slept with his fathers and was buried, and his fathers in the city of David, and Kezekiah his son reigned in his stead. Mm, mm. Verse 17. In the 12th year of Akaz, king of Yehudah, began Hoshea, the son of Elah, to reign in Samaria, over Yasharel 9 years. And he did that which was evil in the sight of Yah, but not as the kings of Yasharel that were before him. Against him came Shalmaneser, king of Assyria, and Hoshea became his servant, and gave him presents. This is a king, right? And the king of Assyria found conspiracy in Hoshea, for he had sent messengers to So king of the south king of Egypt. This thing is weird. And brought no present to the king of Assyria, as he had done year by year. Therefore the king of Assyria shut him up and bound him in prison. Then the king of Assyria came up throughout all the land, and went up to Samaria, and besieged it 3 years. In the 9th year of Hoshea the king of Assyria took Samaria, and carried Israel away into Assyria, and placed them in Halah, in the harbor, by the river Gozan, and in the cities of Medes. In the city of Medes. So look where they're being placed. Right in Greek territory. Going on right here. For so it was that the children of Yasharel had sinned against Yahweh their Elohim, which had brought them up out of the land of Egypt, from under the hand of Pharaoh king of Egypt, and had feared other gods, and walked in the statutes of the heathen, whom Yahweh cast out from before the children of Yasharel, and of the kings of the Yasharel, which they had made. And the children of Yasharel did secretly those things that were not right against Yah their Elohim, and they built them high places in all their cities, from the tower of the watchman to the fenced cities. And they set them up images and groves in every high hill, and under every green tree. And there they burnt incense in all the high places, and did as the heathen whom Yah carried away before them, and wrought wicked things to provoke Yah in anger. For they served idols, whereof Yah had said unto them, Ye shall not do this thing. Yet Yah testified against Yasharel, and against Yahudah by all the prophets and by all the seers, saying, Turn ye from your evil ways and keep my commandments and my statutes according to all the law which I commanded your fathers, and which I sent to you by my servants the prophets. Notwithstanding, they would not hear, but hardened their necks, like to the neck of their fathers, that did not believe in Yah their Elohim. And they rejected his statutes and his covenant that he made with their fathers, and his testimonies which he testified against them. And they followed vanity, and became vain, and went after the heathen that were round about them, concerning whom Yah had charged them, that they should not do like them. And they left all the commandments of Yah their Elohim, and made them molten images, even two calves, and made a grove, and worshipped all the host of heaven, and served Baal. And they caused their sons and their daughters to pass through the fire, and used divination and enchantments, and sold themselves to do evil in the sight of Yah, to provoke him to anger. Therefore, Yah was very angry with Yasharel, and removed them from out of his sight. There was none left but the tribe of Yahudah only. Yeah, a lot of people think sometimes when they read that, they're reading Israel, Israel, and they're thinking it's all of Israel. No, that's just the northern kingdom this section was talking about here, not Yahudah. Okay, therefore Yah was angry with Yasharel, removed them from out of his sight. There was none left but the tribe of Yahudah only. Yahudah kept not. Now we started going astray. Yahudah kept not the commandments of Yah the Elohim, but walked in the statutes of Yasharel, which they made. And Yahweh rejected all the seed of Yasharel, and afflicted them, and delivered them into the hand of spoilers, until he had cast them out of his sight. For he had rent Israel from the house of David. Uh-oh. And they made Jeroboam the son of Nebat king. And Jeroboam drove Yasharel from following Yah, and made them sin a great sin. For the children of Yasharel walked in all the sins of Jeroboam, which she did. They departed not from them, until Yah removed Yasharel out of his sight. And as he had said by all his servants the prophets, so was Yasharel carried away out of their own land to Assyria unto this day. And the king of Assyria brought men from Babel, and from Kuta, and from Ava, and from Kamat, and from Sepharvaim, and placed them in the cities of Samaria instead of the children of Israel. You see, so you got all these Babylonians now. The Syrians. This is when the Syrians started to give Babylonians, the Neo-Babylonian Empire, power. They started bringing them there, putting them there in our cities, took us out of there and put us in their cities in Babylon. I continue. And they possessed Samaria. These are Babylons, and dwelt in the cities thereof. And so it was at the beginning of their dwelling there, that they feared not Yah. Therefore Yah sent lions among them, which slew some of them. Wherefore they spake to the king of Assyria, saying, The nations which thou hast removed and placed in the cities of Samaria know not the manner of the God of the land. Therefore he had sent lions among them, and behold, they slay them, because they know not the manner of the God of the land. Then the king of Assyria commanded, saying, Carry thither one of the priests whom he brought from thence, and let them go and dwell there, and let them teach them the manner of of the land. Do we see what's going on here, folks? The king commanded one of our priests to what? Go and start teaching these Babylonians how to obey the custom of the land, so you got no problems there. Or did I read that wrong? Verse 28. Then one of the priests whom they had carried away from Samaria, came and dwelt in Bethel, and taught them how they should fear Yah. They were teaching Babylonians here. I never picked up on that before till now. Wow. Okay. Howbeit, no wonder they learned that stuff, our language and all that stuff so well. Howbeit, every nation made gods of their own and put them in the houses of the high places which the Samaritans had made, every nation in their cities wherein they dwelt. And the men of Babylon made Sukkot Benot, and the men of Cuth made Nergal, and the men of Harmat made Ashima, and the Avites made Nibhaz and Tartak, and the Sephavites burnt their children in fire to Adramelech and Anamelech, the gods of Sepharvaim. So they feared Yah, and made unto themselves of the lowest of them priests. Hear this? Verse 32. Let me read that again. So they feared Yah, and made unto themselves the lowest of them priests of the high places, which sacrificed for them in the houses of the high places. Do we see how mad this is going? How off we were? Y'all should have wiped us all off the map, I swear. Verse 33. They feared Yah and served their own gods. This is what we're trying to tell these Christians today and these other cults. You can't be calling on Yah and you're still including another name next to him. So I would say same thing it's telling you here. They feared Yah, but who are they serving? They serving their own gods, after the manner of the nations whom they carried away from thence. Unto this day, do after the former manners, they fear not Yah, neither do they after their statutes or after their ordinances or after the law and commandment which Yah commanded the children of Jacob, who he named Yasharel, with whom Yah had made a covenant and charged them, saying, Ye shall not fear other gods, nor bow yourselves to them, nor serve them, nor sacrifice to them. But Yah, who brought you up out of the land of Egypt with great power and an outstretched and a stretched out arm, him shall ye fear, and him shall ye worship, and to him shall ye do sacrifice. And the statutes, and the ordinances, and the law, and the commandment which he wrote for you, ye shall observe to do forevermore, and ye shall not fear other gods. And the covenant that I have made with you, ye shall not forget, neither shall ye fear other gods. But Yahweh your Elohim ye shall fear, and ye shall deliver, and he shall deliver you out of the hand of all your enemies. Howbeit they did not hearken, and they did after their former manner. So their nations feared, so these nations feared Yah and served their graven images, but their children and their children's children, as did their fathers, so do they unto this day. So we're talking Babylonians there. See, that's an example there of us trying to teach them, or not, or even allowing them to be there and learning. And yeah, he's like, they still like that. They still, yep, can't change them. At least he found a remnant in us. Praise, yeah. Are you? You want me to read 18?
Yeah, you have a good reading voice. You put life into it.
Oh, all praises. Thank you. 2 Kings chapter 18. Now it came to pass in the third year of Hoshea, son of Elah, king of Yasharel, that Hezekiah, the son of Achaz, king of Judah, began to reign. 25 years old was he when he began to reign, and he reigned 29 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name also was Abi, the daughter of Zachariah. And he did that which was right in the sight of Yah, according to all that David his father did. He removed the high places, and brake the images, and cut down the groves, and brake to pieces the brazen serpent that Moshe had made. For unto those days the children of Yasharel did burn incense to it, and he called it Nekashatan.
I just want to touch on that real quick. You
Uh-huh.
know how some people say that that bronze serpent was supposed to be a foreshadow of JC on the cross and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and then y'all Jews people say that they say that he's the bronze serpent represents sin. He has lifted up, blah 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 blah. That
Wow.
So yeah, but then we see here, which they couldn't even when we brought it up to them, they couldn't even give a good answer. I guess they never read that part because they're not allowed to read or whatever. But yeah, it was like that serpent was idolized, and then it was destroyed.
Mm.
So they couldn't. So what is that? Was it? What's the allegory for that?
Yeah, that. But when you
Right.
look at all of back then, that's where you get the, what's that called? That sign, the caduce, like you see it
Ambulance.
on the but the ambulances and all that. So that was a sign, because remember, we're dealing with all the surrounded nations and all that, and some of them attacking us for no reason, like Amalek when we first came out. So now we're getting things. So it was more like and when you read it in Hebrew, actually, it says the word for pole. It says a banner. So when I see it, I actually see like a flag with a serpent sign on it. And for me, I see it like a medical place where if anybody get hurt, especially us with all the different nations surrounding us wanting to kill us, if anybody get hurt, this is a place where you run, where at least they will have physicians and that's the way I always interpreted that as, because that sign has held up throughout, thousands of years as being a sign dealing with medicine and healing.
Right. Right. That's actually why, if you notice in my name, I have it's a dollar sign, but that's actually why, because I was making music, and it was like in 2017, I was like making a name, and that actually came to my mind, like the healing, the serpent on the pole healing the Israelites. That's actually why I put the S like that. But I found later down it was kind of like I guess some people see it as bad. I mean, it depends, I guess, but
No, it actually looked like a money with my eyes. It looked like a money sign to me all the time. You're talking about on your name itself,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. Uh, So where were we now?
We just we're on 5 now,
Eight,
verse 5.
verse 5. Second Kings chapter 18, verse 5. He trusted in Yah Elohim of Yasharel, so that after him was none like him among all the kings of Yahudah, nor any that were before him. Wow. Oh, he's talking about Moshe. For he clave to Yah and departed not from following him, but kept his commandments which Yah commanded Moshe. And Yah was with him, and he prospered wheresoever he went forth, and he rebelled against the king of Syria and served him not. He smote the Philistines even unto Gaza and the borders thereof, from the tower of the watchman to the fenced cities. And it came to pass in the 4th year of King Hezekiah, which was the 7th year of Hoshea, son of Elah, king of Yasharel, that Shalmaneser, king of Assyria, came up against Samaria and besieged it. And at the end of 3 years they took it. Even in the 6th year of Kezekiah, that is the 9th year of Hoshea, king of Yasharel, Samaria was taken. And the king of Assyria did carry away Yasharel into Assyria and put them in Calah and in Kabod by the river of Gozan and in the cities of the Medes. Again with these Greeks. Because they obeyed not the voice of Yah, their Elohim, but transgressed his covenant and all that Moshe the servant of Yahweh commanded, and would not hear him nor do them. Now in the 14th year of King Hezekiah, did Sennacherib, king of Assyria, come up against all the fenced cities of Yahudah and took them. And Hezekiah, king of Yahudah, sent to the king of Assyria to Lachish, saying, I have offended. Return from me. That which thou puttest on me will I bear, punk. And the king of Assyria appointed unto Hezekiah, king of Yahudah, 300 talents of silver and 30 talents of gold. And Hezekiah gave him all the silver that was found in the house of Yah, and in the treasures of the king's house. Are we, you know what I'm saying? Woo-hoo! Boy, I tell you. Verse 16. At that time did Hezekiah cut off the gold from the doors of the temple of Yah and from the pillars which Hezekiah king of Yahudah had overlaid, and gave it to the king of Assyria. And the king of Assyria sent Tartan the Rapsaris and Rapshakeh from Lachish to King Hezekiah with a great host against Jerusalem. And they went up and came to Jerusalem, and when they were there, and when they were come up, they came and stood by the conduit of the upper pool, which is in the highway of the fuller's field. And when they had called to the king, there came out to them Eliakim, or Eliakim, the son of Hilkiah, which was over the household, and Shebna the scribe, and Hoa the son of Asaph the recorder, and Rapshakeh, and unto them speaking now to Hezekiah. And Rabshakeh said unto them, Speak ye now to Hezekiah, thus saith the great king, the king of Assyria, what confidence is there wherein thou trustest? Thou sayest, but they are vain words. I have counsel and strength for the war. Now on whom dost thou trust, that thou rebellest against me? Now, behold, thou trustest upon the staff of this bruised reed, even upon Egypt, on which if a man lean, it will go into his hand and pierce it. So is Pharaoh, king of Egypt, unto all that trust on him. Yeah, even the Assyrian is peeping us out and saying, yo, y'all like always leaning on Egypt, and they ain't nothing but a bruised reed where you go leaning on it too hard, you get a splinter in your hand. Man, even the other nations. Wow. Verse 22. But if ye say unto me, we trust in Yah, our Elohim, is that not he whose high places and whose altars Hezekiah had taken away, and had said to Yahudah and Jerusalem, Ye shall worship before this altar in Jerusalem? Now therefore I pray thee, give pledges to my lord the king of Assyria, and I will deliver thee 2,000 horses, if thou be able on thy part to set riders on them. It's like, yeah, you're gonna take all your gold, strip you of everything, the thing, all the pure, all the gold, and yeah, we'll give you 200 horses, but that's if you got riders for them. Man, driving that splinter in, huh? Verse 24. Now, how then wilt thou turn away the face of one captain of the least of my master's servant, and put thy trust on Egypt for chariots and for horsemen? I am now come up without Yahweh against this place to destroy it. Yah said to me, Go up against this land and destroy it. Then said Eliakim, the son of Hilkiah, and Shebna, and Joah, and Rapshakeh, Speak, I pray thee, to thy servant in the Syrian language. Hello, that's what I tell people. We speak the Syrian also. All right? We're scattered in all these places. Same dialect, darn it. He said, Speak, I pray thee, to thy servants in the Syrian language, for we understand it, and talk not with us in the Yahudith language in the ears of the people that are on the wall. But Rabshakeh said unto them, Hath my master sent me to thy master, and to thee, to speak these words? Hath he not sent me to the men which sit on the wall, that they may eat their own dung and drink their own piss with you? Ooh, excuse my language. Verse 28. Then Rabshakeh stood and cried with a loud voice in the Yahudite language, and spake, saying, Shema! He spoke, saying, Hear the word of the great king, the king of Assyria. Thus said the king, Let not Hezekiah deceive you, for he shall not be able to deliver you out of his hand. Neither let Hezekiah make you trust in Yah, saying, Yah will surely deliver us, and this city shall not be delivered into the hand of the king of Assyria. Hearken not to Hezekiah, for thus said the king of Assyria, Make an agreement with me by a present, and come out to me, and then eat ye every man of his own vine, and every one of his own fig tree, and drink ye every one of the waters of his cistern, until I come and take you away to a land like your own land, a land of corn and wine, a land of bread and vineyards, a land of oil and honey, oil and olive and of honey, and ye may live and not die. And hearken not unto Hezekiah when he persuaded you, saying, Yah will deliver us. Verse 33. Have any of the gods of the nation, it's gonna mess up here, huh? Hath any of the gods of the nation delivered at all his hand out of the hand of the king of Assyria? Where are the gods of Kamath and of Arphad? Where are the gods of Sephavim, Hena, Iwa? Have they delivered Samaria out of mine hand? Who are they among all the gods of the countries that have delivered their country out of my hand, that Yah should deliver Jerusalem out of my hand? Uh-oh. But the people held their peace and answered him not a word, for the king's commandment was saying, Answer him not. Then came Eliakim the son of Hilkiah, which was over the household, and Shebna the scribe, and Joha the king of Asaph, the son of Asaph, the recorder, to Hezekiah with their clothes rent, and told him the words of Rabshakeh. Whew, that was the ending of chapter 18, 2nd Kings. Whew, I need a breath.
All right, I'm done eating, so I can hop back in. We're in 20 now, right? Or is it 19? No, 19. 19. I'm tripping. All right. It happened when King Hezekiah heard this, he rent his garments, he donned sackcloth, and went to the temple of Yahweh. He sent Eliakim, who was in charge of the palace, and Shebna the scribe, and the elders of the Kohanim, all dressed in sackcloth, to Isaiah the prophet, the son of Amos. They said to him, Thus say Hezekiah, today is a day of distress, rebuke and sacrilege. We are like babies who entered the birth canal, but the mother has no strength to give birth. If only Yahweh your Elohim will hear all the words of Rabshakeh, whom the king of Assyria, his master, sent to insult the living Elohim, and he will punish him for those words that Yahweh your Elohim heard. And may you offer a prayer for the remnant of the people that is still here. King Hezekiah's servants came to Isaiah, and Isaiah said to them, Thus shall you say to your master, Thus said Yahweh, do not be frightened by the words that you have heard, by which the attendants of the king of Assyria have blasphemed me. Behold, I am instilling a desire within them. He will hear a report and return to his land, and I will strike him down by the sword in his own land. Rabshakeh went back and found the king of Assyria fighting against Libnah, because Rabshakeh had heard that he had journeyed from Lachish. Then Sennacherib heard a report about Tirhakah, the king of Cush, saying, He has gone out to do battle against you. But he once again sent messengers to Hezekiah, saying, Thus shall you speak unto Hezekiah, king of Judah, saying, Do not let your Elohim, in whom you trust, persuade you, saying, Jerusalem will not be delivered into the hand of the king of Assyria. Behold, you have heard what the kings of Assyria have done to all the lands, laying them waste. Will you be spared? Did the gods of the nations rescue those whom our fathers destroyed? Gazan, Haran, Rezeph, and the people of Eden who are in Telasar? Where is the king of Hamath, or the king of Arpad, or the king of the city of the Sepharvaim, Vaim, or of Hena, or of Iva? Hezekiah took the letters from the hand of the messengers and read them, and he went up to the temple of Yahweh, and Hezekiah spread out each of them before Yahweh. Hezekiah then prayed before Yahweh and said, Yahweh, Elohim of Yasharal, who dwells atop the cherubim, you alone are Elohim of the kingdoms of the world. You made heaven and earth. Incline your ear, Yahweh, and hear, open your eyes, Yahweh, and see. Hear the words of Sennacherib that he has sent to insult the living Elohim. Indeed, Yahweh, the kings of Assyria, have destroyed the nations and their land, and have placed their gods into the fire. For they are not gods, but the work of man's hands, wood and stone. So they destroyed them. So now, Yahweh our Elohim, save us, please, from his hand. Then all the kingdoms of the world shall know that you alone are Yahweh Elohim. Isaiah son of Amos sent word to Hezekiah, saying, Thus said Yahweh Elohim of Yasharal, regarding what you prayed to me concerning Sennacherib, king of Assyria. This is the word that Yahweh has spoken about him. She scorns you, she mocks you. She is the maiden daughter of Zion. She shakes her head at you. She, the daughter of Jerusalem. Whom have you insulted and blasphemed? Against whom have you raised a voice and lifted your eyes on high? Against the Holy One of Yasharal. By the hand of your messengers you have insulted my Adonai, and said, With my multitude of chariots I climb the highest mountains, to the ends of the Lebanon forest. I shall cut down its tallest cedars, its choicest cypresses, and I shall enter his ultimate abode, the forest of his fruitful field. I dug and drank unknown waters, for the soles of my feet dried up all the rivers of the besieged area. Have you not heard from the distant past that I have done it? From earliest days I have formed it. Now I have brought it about to raise into desolate heaps your fortified cities. Their inhabitants were short of power, crushed and ashamed. They were like herbage of the field and grassy vegetation, like grass on rooftops, like stalks wind blasted, before standing full. You're sitting in council, you're going forth, and you're coming in. I know them, and also your provocation against me, because you provoked me, and your arrogance has risen up to my ears. I shall place my hook into your nose, and my bridle into your lips, and I shall make you return by the route on which you came. And this shall be a sign for you. You will eat this year of the aftercrop, the second year fruits from tree stumps, and in the third year sow and harvest, and plant vineyards and eat their fruits. And the survivors that remained of the house of Judah shall take root below and produce fruit above. For from Jerusalem shall emerge a remnant, and survivors from Mount Zion, the zeal of Yahweh, master of legions, shall do this. Therefore, thus say Yahweh about the king of Assyria, he will not enter this city, and he will not shoot there an arrow. He will not approach it with a shield, and he will not pour a ramp against it. On the route by which he came, he will retreat, but he will not enter this city. Thus saith Yahweh, and I shall protect this city to save it, for my sake and for the sake of my servant David. And it was that very night. You want to say something?
No, I thought he was. He said he was defending the city to save it for his own sake and for. It wasn't JC.
Uh,
Okay, for David's.
hold up,
Okay,
hold up, hold up. I gotta read that again.
and David's sake.
I gotta read that one more time. And I shall protect this city to save it, for my sake and for the sake of my servant David. No, I don't see no JC in there.
Okay, all right. Just checking. Thank you.
I can look a little harder.
If don't,
Unless I'm
don't
just missing
help.
some words. I'm not reading. Okay. All right, verse 35. We're in chapter 19. And it was that very night, a Malak of Yahweh went out and struck down 185,000 people of the Assyrian camp. The rest arose early in the morning, and behold, they were all dead corpses. So Sennacherib, king of Assyria, journeyed forth, went and returned, and he settled in Nineveh. It happened that he was worshipping in the temple of his god Nisroch. His sons Adremelech and Sarezer struck him down by the sword. They then fled to the land of Ararat, and Esar Haddon, his son, reigned in his place.
Now you see, Sennacherib went back to Nineveh, and remember they had already took four cities of the children of the northern kingdom there. Remember when they switched them out with the
Right,
Babylonians?
right.
Right. So that's why we were there in Nineveh.
Okay, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense now. Cause I was wondering that before too. Like when it came to Sodom and Gomorrah, Nineveh, and him sending prophets there, I was like, how's he sending prophets to all these wicked people that aren't even of Israel? So now it
Exactly.
makes sense now. The more
Mm.
that's why you read over and over and over again, cause
Ah,
this is
God.
like.
I the only
Like,
way, because I was searching hard for it. I'm like, it doesn't make sense, and if it doesn't make sense, there's got to be an answer. There's got to be an answer. And I kept searching. I kept searching. Then one day when I was studying the Book of Kings, that's when I found Jonah there and the whole mess going on there and the whole trading and everything and him sending. I said, okay, he was sending them to the northern kingdom that was transported there by the Assyrians. Okay, now it makes sense. So we can kill the Christian guys with them that too.
they'll just be like, oh, that's Old Testament. It don't count.
Yeah, but the Old Testament is convenient when they want to try and find JC in it, though, right?
Or the tithes.
God, or yeah, what they call them, the Beatitudes or whatever.
Hey, Mike, you want to take 20? I'll give you an option 20 reps on a bench press, or you want to read chapter 20. It's up to you. Mike, what happened? He chose the bench press. All right.
What happened?
Maybe it's. Oh, there he is. Hey, Mike, you want to take 20?
I take yeah, I take 20.
All right,
Yeah,
bet.
I got knocked out of this room and sent me to another one. 20, right?
Con.
Let me do 20 and 21 or just 20?
Yeah, you can take both.
All right. All right. Second Kings 20 and 21. All right. Second Kings 21. All right. Second Kings 20. In the day of Hezekiah became ill and was at the time of death. The prophet Isaiah, the son of Amos, went to him and said, this is what Yahweh says: put your house in order, because you are going to die. You will not recover. Hezekiah turned his face to the wall and prayed to Yahweh. Remember, Yahweh, how I have walked before you faithfully and wholehearted devotion, and have done what is good in your eyes. And Hezekiah wept bitterly. Verse 4. Before Isaiah had left the middle court, the word of Yahweh came to him, and go back and told Hezekiah, the ruler of my people, this is what Yahweh said, Elohim of your father David says, I have heard your prayers and send your tears. I will heal you on the third day from now you will go up to the temple of Yahweh. Verse 6. For I will add 50 years to your life, and I will deliver you and the city from the hand of king of Syria. I will defend this city for my sake and for the sake of my servant King David. Verse 7. Then Isaiah said, prepare a partakes of figs, for they did so, and applied it to the boil, and he recovered. Hezekiah had asked Isaiah, "What will be the sign that Yahweh will heal me? And I will go up to the temple of Yahweh the third day from now." Verse 9. And Isaiah answered, This this is Yahweh's sign to you that Yahweh will do what he has promised. Sh- And shall the shadow go forward 10 steps, or shall it go back 10 steps? And it is a simple matter for the shadow to go forward 10 steps, said Hezekiah. Um, Rather have it go back 10 steps. Verse 11. Then the prophet Isaiah called on Yahweh, and Yahweh made the shadow go back 10 steps. It had gone down on the stairway of Hezekiah. It went down the stairway of Ahaz, excuse me. Verse 12. At that time, Marduk, Balaam, Balaam, the son of Balaam, the king of Babylon, sent Hezekiah a letter and a gift because he had heard Hezekiah illness. Hezekiah recovered the invoice and showed them all that all that was in his storehouse: silver and gold, spices and fine oil, olive oil. This or this armory, his armory, and everything found among his treasure. That there was nothing in this place or in all the kingdoms that Hezekiah did not show them. Verse 14. Then Isaiah the prophet went to King Hezekiah and asked, "What do those men say? Where do they come from?" From a they come from a distant land. Hezekiah replied, "They came from Babylon." Verse 15. But the prophet asked, "What did they see in their place?" For they saw everything in their place. Hezekiah said, "There is nothing among my treasure that I did not show them." Verse 16. Then Isaiah said to Hezekiah, "Hear the words of Yahweh. The, the time will surely come when everything in your place and all that you all that you have stored up until this day will be carried off to Babylon. Nothing will be left, says Yahweh. And some of their descendants, your own flesh and blood, who will be born to you, will be taken away, and they will become uh, in the place of the king of Babylon. The word of Yahweh, you have spoken is good. Hezekiah replied, for he thought, will there not be peace and security in my lifetime? As for the other events of Hezekiah's reign, for this uh, avasement in how he had made the pool and the tools by in the tomb in the tunnel by which he had brought water into the city. They He had brought water into the city. Where am I? Are they not written in the book of Annals, the and Annals, the king of Judah? Hezekiah rests with his ancestors, and Manasseh his son succeeded him as king. All right. Second Kings verse 22. And Josiah was 8 years old. Then he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 21 years. His mother name was Ju- Judah, Judah, the daughter of Jediah, and she was from Bas. She was from Basca, and he did what was right in the eyes of Yahweh, and and followed completely the ways of his father David, and the and not turn aside to the right or to the left. Verse 3. In the 18th year of the reign of King Josiah, sent the security of Sharp, Sharp, Sharpen, the son of Saliah, the son of Mash, Mashallah, Mashalom, to the temple of Yahweh. He said, go up to We go up to Hilkiah, the high priest, and have have him get ready the money that has been brought into the temple of Yahweh, which the doorkeepers have collected from the people. Verse 5, have them entrusted to the man appointed to supervise the work of the temple, and have these men paid the work who repair the temple of Yahweh, the car, the car, the carnage, the builders and the masons also have them purchase timber and dress stones to repair the temple. Verse 7. But he needs no account from the money interest to them, because they are in their dealing. That's as Malachi, the high priest, said to Shaman, the securities, felt, I have found the book of the law in the temple of Yahweh, and he gave it to Sharpan, who read it. Sharpan, the security, went to the king and reported to him, your official have paid out the money that was in the temple of Yah, have interest it to the workers and supervisors at the temple. And then Shah, Shahana, Shahan, the security, informed the king in Hilkiah, the priest, has given me a book, and and shan't read from it in the presence of the king. Verse 11. Then the king heard the words of the book of the law. He torn his ribbons. He gave those orders to the priests of uh, Akim, the son of um, Shaphan, the Ichabod, the um, son of Micah. Um, the security has as the king um attend Go and require of Yahweh for me and for the people and for Judah about it is written in this book that has been found. Great is Yahweh's anger that burns against us, because those who have gone before us have not obeyed the words of this book. They have not acted in with accordance with all that is written. They're conceding us. The Halakarai, the priest Akim, and Akbo Shaphan, and Isaiah went to speak to the prophet um Hul- Hu- Huldah, who was the wife of Shalom, the son of the son of Hor, Hores, keep, keeper of the uh, ribbon. She she lives in Jerusalem. Oh, so I'm about to die.
Phone's about to die. What verse were you on? Hey, Devon, you remember what verse he was on?
I was actually reading it in the Hebrew, so I was on different verses than he was.
Did he read 20?
I don't think so.
Oh, you. I was about to say. I was like, okay, yeah. I think you skipped 21, Mike. All right, hold up. I'm say his phone's about to die. I'm gonna just go through it. 21. Just all right. All right. Manasseh was 12 years old when he became king, and he reigned for 55 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Haphizbah. He did what was evil in the eyes of Yahweh, like the abominations of the nations that Yahweh had driven out before the children of Yasharal. He rebuilt the high places that his father Hezekiah had destroyed. He erected altars to Baal. He made an Asherah, as Ahab, king of Yasharal, had done. He bowed down to the entire host of heaven and worshipped them. He built altars in the temple Yahweh, about which Yahweh said, I shall place my name in Jerusalem. He built altars to the entire host of heaven in the two courtyards of the temple Yahweh. He passed his son through the fire, practiced astrology and read omens, and performed necromancy and conjured up spirits. He was profuse in doing what was evil in the eyes of Yahweh to anger him. Hmm. That necromancy and conjuring up spirits kinds of sound like people do when they try to encamp the name of the one who shall not be named. The
God.
Asherah idol that he had made, he had placed in the temple, concerning which Yahweh said to David and his son Solomon, in this temple and in Jerusalem, which I have chosen from among all the tribes of Yasharal, I shall place my name forever. And I shall no longer cause the feet of Yasharal to wander from the land that I have given to their forefathers, provided they are careful to act according to all that I commanded them, and to the entire Torah that my servant Moshe commanded them. but they did not listen. Manasseh led them astray to do more evil than the nations that Yahweh had destroyed before the children of Yasharal. Yahweh spoke through his servants the prophets, saying, because Manasseh king of Judah committed these abominations, he did worse than all that the Amorite who was before him had done, and he caused even Judah to sin with his idols. Therefore thus said Yahweh, Elohim of Yasharal, behold, I am bringing such evil upon Jerusalem and Judah, that both ears of anyone who hears it will ring. I will stretch out upon Jerusalem the level of Samaria, and the plumb line of the house of Ahab. I will wipe out Jerusalem as one will wipe a plate thoroughly, and then turn it upside down. I shall abandon the remnant of my heritage and deliver them into the hands of their enemies, where they will be plundered and trampled by all their enemies, because they did what was evil in my eyes and angered me, from the day that their forefathers left Egypt unto this day. Manasseh also shed very much innocent blood, until he filled Jerusalem from end to end with it, aside from his sin of causing Judah to sin, to do what was evil in the eyes of Yahweh. The rest of the deeds of Manasseh, and all that he did, and his sins that he committed, behold, they are recorded in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah. Manasseh lay with his forefathers, and was buried in the garden of his palace, in the garden of Uzzah. His son Amon reigned in his place. Amon was 22 years old when he became king, and he reigned for 2 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Meshullemeth, daughter of Haruz from Jotbah. He did what was evil in the eyes of Yahweh, as Manasseh his father had done. He went the same way. He went the same way as his father had gone. He worshipped the idols that his father had worshipped, and he prostrated himself to them. He forsook Yahweh, the Elohim of his forefathers, and he did not follow the way of Yahweh. Ammon's servants conspired against him, and they killed the king in his palace. But the people of the land struck down all the conspirators against King Ammon. The people of the land crowned Josiah his son in his place. The rest of the deeds of Ammon that he did, behold, they are recorded in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah. They buried him in his grave in the garden of Uzzah, and his son Josiah reigned in his place. Chapter 22. Josiah was 8 years old when he became king, and he reigned for 31 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Jedidiah, daughter of Adiah of Baskath. He did what was proper in the eyes of Yahweh, following the ways of his forefather David. He did not veer right or left. It happened in the 18th year of King Hosea that the king sent Shaphan, son of Azaliah, son of Meshullam, the scribe, to the temple of Yahweh, saying, go up to Hilkiah, the Kohen Gadol, and tell him that he should collect all the money that is brought to the temple of Yahweh, which the gatekeepers have collected from the people, and they should give it over to the workmen in charge in the temple of Yahweh, and they should give it to the workmen. Hold up. Oh yeah, and they should give it to the workmen in the temple of Yahweh to repair the deterioration of the temple, for the carpenters, the builders, and the stonemasons, and for buying wood and quarried stones to repair the temple. However, no accounting shall be made with them for the money given over into their hand, for they act with integrity. Hilkiah, the Kohen Gadol, said to Shaphan the scribe, I have found a scroll of the Torah in the temple of Yahweh. Hilkiah gave the scroll to Shaphan and read it. Shaphan the scribe came to the king and brought a report to the king, and he said, your servants have counted the money that was found in the temple and have given it to the hand of the workmen in charge of the temple of Yahweh. Shaphan the scribe then told the king, saying, Hilkiah the Kohen has given me a scroll. Shaphan then read it before the king. It happened that when the king heard the words of the scroll of the Torah, he rent his garments. The king commanded Hilkiah the Kohen, Ahikam, son of Shaphan, Akbor, son of Micaiah, Shaphan the scribe, and Asaiah, the king's servant, saying, go and inquire of Yahweh on my behalf, and on behalf of the people, and on behalf of all Judah, concerning the words of the scroll that was found. For great is the wrath of Yahweh that has been incited against us, because our forefathers have not listened to the words of this scroll, to fulfill all that was written for us. So Hilkiah the Kohen, Ahikam, Akbor, Shaphan, and Isaiah went to Huldah the prophetess, the wife of Shallum, son of Tikva, son of Harhas, the keeper of the royal garments, who dwelt in Jerusalem in the study house. And they spoke to her. She said to them, Thus saith Yahweh, Elohim Yasharal, say to the man who sent you to me, Thus saith Yahweh, Behold, I am bringing evil upon this place and upon its inhabitants, namely all the words of the scroll that the king of Judah read, because they have forsaken me and burned offerings to the gods of others, in order to anger me with all their handiwork. My wrath has been incited against this place, and it will not be extinguished. And concerning the king of Judah who sent you to inquire of Yahweh, should you say to him, Thus saith Yahweh, Elohim Yasharal, regarding the words that you have just heard, because your heart is soft and you humbled yourself before Yahweh, when you heard that which I have spoken about this place and its inhabitants, that they would become a desolation and a curse, and you rent your garments and cry before me, and I too have heard, thus saith Yahweh, therefore behold, I will gather you into your forefathers. You will be gathered to your grave in peace, and your eyes will not see all the evil that I am bringing upon this place. They
Con.
brought the report back to the king.
Oh, sorry.
That's
No.
the end of 22.
Oh, con. Sorry, I was a couple of seconds too early. Sorry. See, yeah, that's another important thing because a lot of people ask that question throughout life. Um, why do sometimes they say why do good people die young, or why are people taken before what we perceive to be before their time? And this is one of the verses them, and I found them in different places, even in Ecclesiastes, where this is one of those places where Yah tells you, and he said there what? And thine eyes. So he told them, Behold, therefore I will gather thee unto your fathers, meaning you're going to die, and you shall be gathered into thy grave in peace. So Yah is literally going to take his life before the mess go down, so to speak. So he says, and thine eyes shall not see all the evil which I will bring upon this place. So Yah basically death was his mercy instead of, you know, going through and witnessing and being part of this whole mess that's about to happen to us. So yeah, sometimes death is merciful.
Khan. There is a verse that says that too. For I think it was a proverb or something like that. I don't remember, but um, yeah, 23. I'm gonna just read through it because I got something to do in a little bit, so I'm gonna get it done. Okay, chapter 23. The king sent out and gathered himself to himself all the elders of Judah and Jerusalem. The king went up to the temple of Yahweh, and all the men of Judah and all the inhabitants of Jerusalem with him, as well as the Kohanim and the prophets and all the people, from small to great, and he read in their ears all the words of the book of the covenant that had been found in the temple of Yahweh. The king then stood at his place and sealed the covenant before Yahweh, to follow Yahweh, and to observe his commandments and his testimonies, and his decrees with all his heart and all his soul, to uphold the words of this covenant written in this book. And the entire people accepted the covenant. The king then instructed Hilkiah the Kohen Gadol, the Kohanim of the second rank, and the gatekeepers to remove the temple Yahweh, to remove from the temple Yahweh all the articles that had been made for Baal, and for the Asherah, and for all the hosts of the heavens. He had burned them outside Jerusalem in the plains of Kidron, and their ashes carried away to Bethel. He also dismissed the priests whom the kings of Judah had appointed to burn offerings at the high places in the cities of Judah and in the surrounding areas of Jerusalem, as well as those who burned offerings to Baal, to the sun, and to the moon, and to the constellations, and to all the heavenly hosts. He removed from Asherah, from the temple of Yahweh, to the Kidron Valley outside Jerusalem. He burned it in the Kidron Valley and ground it to dust, and then scattered its dust over the graves of the idolatrous common people. He demolished the rooms of the idolaters that were in the temple Yahweh, where the women would weave curtains for Asherah. He brought all the priests from the cities of Judah, and he defiled the high places where these priests used to burn offerings from Gabaa to Beersheba. He smashed the high places at the gates, and the one that was at the entrance of the gate of Joshua. the governor of the city, which was situated at one's left when entering the city gate. But the priests of the high places were not permitted to ascend the altar of Yahweh in Jerusalem. Rather, they would only eat unleavened bread among their brethren. Hmm.
Damn, you talk about demotion right there. Woo.
Right. I was just thinking, like, what?
Yep. That, remember, that's the law. You got to be pure. Is that if you belong to the Levites, belong to Yah, so they have to be pure. Even in their marriage, they can't have half marriage. No, you have to be Levite.
They
Levite.
burn incense to the Indian god. That Shiva, the six arm. That's the six arm, the one in
Shiva. Shiva.
Hinduism.
Yeah, that's Shiva. Mm.
Hmm. Right.
Nothing
Verse.
new under the sun.
Nope. Verse 10. He also defiled the Topheth, which was in the valley of Ben Hinnom, so that no man could pass his son or daughter through the fire for Molech. He also abolished the horses that the kings of Judah had designated for worship of the sun, which were raised from the entrance to the temple of Yahweh to the office of Nathan Melech, the officer in the outlying area of the city. He burned the chariots of the sun in fire, and the altars that were on the roof of the upper story built by Ahaz, which the kings of Judah set up, and the altars that Manasseh had set up in the two courtyards of the temple of Yahweh, the king smashed. He eliminated them from there and threw their dust into the Kidron Valley. In the high places facing Jerusalem, south of the Mount of Olives, which Solomon king of Yasharal had built for Ashtaroth, the abomination of the Sidonians, for Chemosh, the abomination of Moab, and for Milcom, the abomination of the children of Ammon, the king defiled. He shattered the pillars and cut down the Asher trees, and he filled up their places with human bones. Also the altar that was in Bethel, the high place that Jeroboam son of Nebat built, with which he caused Yasharal to sin. Also that altar and its high place he demolished. He burned the high place and ground it into dust, and he burned the Asherah tree. Josiah then turned and saw the graves that were there on the mountain, and he sent men to take the bones out of the graves, and he burned them upon the altar and defiled it, in accordance with the word of Yahweh, which the man of Elohim who had prophesied about these events proclaimed. Josiah then said, "What is this tombstone that I see?" The people of the city said to him, "It is the grave of the man of Elohim who came from Judah and prophesied about these deeds that you have done upon the altar of Bethel." He said, "Leave it alone. Let no man move those bones. His bones save the bones of the prophet who came from Samaria." Furthermore, all the temples of the high places in the cities of Samaria, which the kings of Yasharal had built to anger Yahweh, Josiah removed, and he did to them like all the deeds that he had done at Bethel. He slaughtered all the priests of the high places who were there upon the altars, and burned human bones upon them, and he returned to Jerusalem. The king then commanded the people, saying, "Perform the Pasach offering unto Yahweh your Elohim, as written in the book of the covenant. For such a Pasach offering had not been celebrated since the days of the judges who judged Yasharal, and all the days of the kings of Yasharal and the kings of Judah. But in the 18th year of King Hosea, this Passover was celebrated unto Yahweh in Jerusalem. Furthermore, the necromancers and conjurers of spirits, the teraphim, the execrable idols, and all the abominations that had been seen in the land of Judah and Jerusalem, Josiah removed in order to uphold the words of the Torah, that all words of the Torah that were written in the scroll that Hilkiah the Kohen found in the temple of Yahweh. Before him there had never been a king like him who returned to Yahweh with all his heart, with all his soul, and with all his resources in accordance with the entire Torah of Moshe, and after him no one arose like him. Nevertheless, Yahweh did not relent from his great flaring anger, for his anger had flared up against Judah because of all the provocations with which Manasseh had angered him. So Yahweh said, "Judah as well will I remove from my presence, as I removed Yasharal, and I will reject this city which I have chosen, Jerusalem, and the temple of which I said, my name would remain here." There, the rest of the deeds of Josiah and all he did, Behold, they are recorded in the book of the Chronicles of the Kings of Judah. In his days, Pharaoh Necho, the king of Egypt, went up to wage war against the king of Assyria by the Euphrates River. King Josiah went to confront him, and the Pharaoh killed him in Megiddo when he saw him. His servants drove him dead from Megiddo in a chariot, brought him to Jerusalem, and buried him in his grave. The common people took Jehoahaz, son of Josiah, anointed him, and crowned him king in place of his father. Hold up.
Yo, bruh, you know when they talk about Armageddon?
Yeah, Megiddo. Yep.
Megiddo. You know literally what they're saying?
What are they
They're,
really saying?
they're literally saying them against the children of Yasharel and Yah.
Yep.
Think about it here. Because here is a great example. What did the king do? What did Pharaoh do? You take our king. Josiah should have listened because Yah told him don't go up. So that's his fault. So he got, hey, he should have listened to Yah. Yah told him, hey, mind your business. I sent Pharaoh for a reason. Leave it alone. It's got nothing to do with you. But Josiah still, like righteous king, he want to defend his people and his. So, but the thing is, what it says here? He took our king and took him down to Megiddo and slew him there. So if that's any metaphor for the battle at Armageddon, that's to me representing the other nations coming against us. You catch where I'm going with the metaphor?
Yeah.
Yeah, I never peeped it before, but I'm thinking about it now. Like this whole battle of Armageddon, and it's all Japheth's people involved. I don't know, and
Most
we
definitely.
have to be under Japheth's people here.
Yeah, and they're kind of trying to prevent it any way they can.
God,
Then he says the
you think?
Megiddo and
They're
all that.
searching for the new David. Trust you me. That's why they want everybody's DNA in their blood bank and ancestry.com and all that stuff. They're doing the same thing Pharaoh want. They're looking for who is this David that's probably already born, that's probably be already trained. He's probably a little kid in a country somewhere in a little place. Yeah, have him sealed up, and he's just learning the Torah and learning the laws and all that. And Yah has probably given him wisdom where he's smarter than any kid you can ever know. And he's probably being groomed right now by Yah in a place where he's going to be untouched, unharmed, unpolluted.
Yeah, that's why they're doing the. That's probably why they started the what's it called, the the abortion clinics and all that too.
Egg, there you go.
But yeah, verse 31. Okay. Jehoahaz was 23 years old when he became king, and he reigned for 3 months in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Hamutah, daughter of Jeremiah of Libnah. He did what was evil in the eyes of Yahweh, like everything that his forefathers had done. Pharaoh Necho imprisoned him at Riblah in the land of Hamath to prevent him from reigning in Jerusalem, and he levied a fine upon the land, 100 talents of silver and a talent of gold. Pharaoh Necho then crowned Eliakim, son of Josiah, in place of his father Josiah, and changed his name to Jehoiakim. Pharaoh took Jehoahaz and returned to Egypt, and Jehoahaz died there. Jehoiakim delivered the silver and the gold to Pharaoh, but he assessed upon the populace to pay the money that Pharaoh had demanded. He imposed upon the populace, each man according to his means, the silver and gold that he had to give to Pharaoh Necho. Jehoiakim was 25 years old when he became king, and he reigned for 11 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Zebudah, daughter of Pedaiah of Ramah. He did what was evil in the eyes of Yahweh, like everything that his forefathers had done. Chapter 24. In his days, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylonia, invaded. Jehoiakim became a vassal to him for 3 years, but then he reneged and rebelled against him. Yahweh incited against him troops of the Chaldeans, troops of Aram, troops of Moab, and troops of the children of Ammon, and sent them against Judah to annihilate it. in accordance with the word of Yahweh that he had spoken through his servants, the prophets. Indeed, the decree was issued against Judah by the word of Yahweh to remove them from his presence, for the sins of Manasseh, for everything that he had done, and also for the innocent blood that he had shed. He had filled Jerusalem with innocent blood, and Yahweh did not want to forgive. The rest of the deeds of Jehoiakim and all that he did, behold, they are recorded in the book of Chronicles of the kings of Judah. Jehoiakim lay with his forefathers, and his son Jehoiachin reigned in his place. The king of Egypt no longer left his country, for the king of Babylonia had occupied from the brook of Egypt to the Euphrates River all the land that had belonged to the king of Egypt. Jehoiakim was 18 years old when he became king, and he reigned for 3 months in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Nehushta, daughter of Elnathan of Jerusalem. He did what was evil in the eyes of Yahweh, like everything his father had done. At that time, the servants of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylonia, came up to wage war against Jerusalem, and the city came under siege. Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came upon the city while his servants were besieging it. Jehoiakim, king of Judah, went out to the king of Babylonia, he, his mother, his servants, his ministers, and his officers. And the king of Babylonia took him captive in the 8th year of his reign. He also removed from there all the treasures of the temple of Yahweh, and the treasures of the king's palace, and he dismantled all the golden articles that Solomon king of Yasharal had made in the sanctuary of Yahweh, as Yahweh had said. He exiled all of Jerusalem, all the officers and all the men of war, 10,000 exiles, as well as all the artisans and the gatekeepers. There was no one left except for the poorest of the common people. He exiled the Jehoiakim to Babylonia, and the king's mother, the king's wives, his officers, and the noblemen of the land he brought into exile from Jerusalem to Babylonia. All the men of war, 7,000, and the artisans and the gatekeepers, 1,000, all of them mighty men, warriors. The king of Babylonia brought them to exile to Babylonia. The king of Babylonia then crowned Mattaniah, Jehoiakim's uncle, in his place, and changed his name to Zedekiah. Zedekiah was 21 years old when he became king, and he reigned for 11 years in Jerusalem. His mother's name was Hamutal, daughter of Jeremiah of Libnah. He did what was evil in the eyes of Yahweh, like everything that Jehoiakim had done. It was because the wrath of Yahweh was upon Jerusalem and Judah until he would cast them away from his presence that Zedekiah rebelled against the king of Babylonia. All right, y'all, we're in the last chapter, 25. It happened in the 9th year of Zedekiah's reign, in the 10th month, on the 10th of the month, that Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylonia, he and his entire army came to wage war against Jerusalem, and encamped near it, and built a siege tower around it. The city came under siege until the 11th year of King Zedekiah, on the 9th day of the 4th month, and the famine of the city became critical. There was no food for the people of the land. The city was breached, and all the men of war fled during the night by the way of the gate between the walls, which was near the king's garden, although the Chaldeans were upon the city all around. And the king went into flight by the way of the Rabbah. The Chaldean army pursued the king and overtook him at the plains of Jericho, and his entire army dispersed him from him. They seized the king and brought him up to the king of Babylonia at Riblah, and they spoke words of judgment to him. They slaughtered Zedekiah's sons before his eyes. Nebuchadnezzar blinded Zedekiah's eyes. Then he bound him in leg irons and brought him to Babylonia. Shit.
Remember that wasn't that a prophet of Jeremiah? I think it was. Jeremiah gave him that prophet and told him that um, he's gonna go into Babylon, but he shall not see it, and
Hmm.
it happened just like that.
Sounds familiar. I have a bad memory, so I gotta highlight and take notes. All
Oh,
right.
and I wanted to make one more point.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have to this chapter started off with in what year? In the 10th month, in the 10th day,
10th year, 10th month.
in
Something like
the 10th year. Now, while this is going on at this time, this whole scenery that's going on, Daniel is already serving. because Daniel, according to the book of Daniel, Daniel got taken away in the third year of the in the first siege, which was the third year of Nebuchadnezzar reigning. That's when he come and when they stopped giving him tribute, Jehoiakim. That's when he came and laid siege, and Daniel went to that first siege in the third year. So while this stuff we're reading right here, I think it's said in the 11th year of Nebuchadnezzar or something like, or the 7th year of Nebuchadnezzar. So, that's what I'm saying. There's so much going on. When we're reading this, there's a lot of things going on in different areas that if we can like put them together, it'll be a nice picture to do. I love doing things like that, like just getting the whole scene together. But yeah, let's keep in mind as we're reading this that Daniel is already there in the serving Nebuchadnezzar.
Yeah, it said ninth year, 10th month, 10th day.
Yeah. So Daniel's been there now for 6 years under
Hey,
servitude.
would you mind reading the rest of it from chapter 8? I'll just do something real quick.
Sure, no problem.
Appreciate you.
Got it. Chapter 8, 2 Kings chapter 25, verse 8. And it reads, And in the 5th month, on the 7th day of the month, which is the 19th year of Nebuchadnezzar, Daniel is still there, king of Babylon, came Nebuzaradan, captain of the guard, a servant of the king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem. And he burnt the house of Yah, and the king's house, and all the houses of Jerusalem, and every great man's house burnt he with fire. So he just burnt our entire, he just burnt down our houses, the temple, everything. And all the army of the Chaldeans, right, the Babylonians, that were with. Now, this, just mark that chapter, guys, because you're going to know when Job talks about it, then we get to picture in and see what time period Job was living and when all that stuff happened to him. It was during this whole time period here, within that 70-year time period. It says, and all the army of the Chaldeans that were with the captain of the guard break down the walls of round about. Verse 11. Now the rest of the people that were left in the city and the fugitives that fell away to the king of Babylon and the remnant of the multitude did Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, carry away. I think this is a second wave, right? But the captain of the guard left of the poor of the land. So the poor people, they didn't need them to be vine dressers and husbandmen. So, in other words, we planting all the crops and all that. We're like slaving in the field for them, crop field for them. And the pillars of brass that were in the house of Yah, and the bases and the brazen sea, and Solomon made that was in the house of Yah, did the Chaldees break in pieces and carried the brass away. So they tore up that beautiful glass work that was described, that was made. They broke that up just to get the brass. What they call them nowadays? There's a word for people like that. You go around collecting, like mango. We call it mango, but yeah. And carry the brass of them to Babylon, and the pots and the shovels and the snuffers. All these things are made of pure gold from a fur and silver. So these things are expensive. Pots, shovels, snuffers, and spoons, and all the vessels of brass. Those are the lavers wherewith they ministered, took they away. And the fire pans and the bowls and such things as were of gold in gold and of silver in silver. The captain of the guard took away the 2 pillars, one seat, and the bases which Solomon had made for the house of Yah. The brass of all these vessels was without weight. It was without weight. It was like it was beyond weight to measure. The height of one pillar was 18 cubits. Multiply that 18 cubits times uh 12 feet, and you get your hands. And the chapiter, probably around 300 feet. And the chapiter upon it was brass, and the height of the chapiter 3 cubits, and the wreathen work and pomegranates upon the chapiter round about all of brass, and like unto these had the second pillar with wreathen work. And the captain of the guard took Sariah the chief priest, and Zephaniah the second priest, and the 3 keepers of the door. And out of the city he took an officer that was set over the men of war, and 5 men of them that were in the king's presence, which were found in the city, and the principal scribe of the host, which mustered the people of the land, and 60 men of the people of the land that were found in the city. Y'all want to know how we got our books translated and how all of them learn our books? They took our scribes. They took our best of the best of the best. And Nebuzaradan, captain of the guard, took these and brought them to the king of Babylon, to Riblah. And the king of Babylon smote them and slew them in Riblah, in the land of Hamath. So Yahudah was carried away out of their land. And as for the people that remained in the land of Yahudah, whom Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, had left, even over them he made Gedaliah, the son of Achikam, the son of Shaphan, ruler. And when all the captains of the armies, they and their men, heard that the king of Babylon had made Gedaliah governor, there came to Gedaliah to Mizpah even Ishmael, the son of Netaniah, and Johanan, the son of Kareah, and Serahiah, the son of Tanchumeth, and Netophathi, the Netophatites, right? The Nophathites, and Yaakanat, Yazaniah, and the son of Maakatit, they and their men. And Gedaliah swore to them and to their men and said to them, fear not to be servants of the Chaldeans. Are you kidding me? Fear not to be servants to them, he's saying. Dwell in the land and serve the king of Babylon, and it shall be well with you. But it came to pass in the 7th month that Ishmael, the son of Nathaniah, the son of Elishama, of the seed royal, this is royal seed here, came, and 10 men with him, and smote Gedaliah, and he died. They shouldn't have done that. And the Yahudites and the Chaldeans that were with him at Mizpah. So he didn't just come and kill them, Gedaliah, but he killed Babylonians and he killed Judites. The boy was on a mission. And all the people, both small and great, and the captains of the armies arose and came to Egypt, for they were afraid of the Chaldeans. And it came to pass in the 37th year of the captivity of Jehoiakim, king of Yahudah, in the 12th month, on the 7th and 20th day of the month, that Ewil Merodach, evil Murdoch, they call him, king of Babylon, in the year that he began to reign, did lift up the head of Jehoiakim, king of Yahudah, out of prison, and he spake kindly to him, and set his throne above the throne of the kings that were with him in Babylon. So it ended up being good for him, Jehoiakim, huh? He got a position like Joseph and like Daniel. Verse 29, and changed his prison garments, and he did eat bread continually before him all the days of his life. And his allowance was a continual allowance given him of the king, a daily rate for every day, all the days of his life. I hope he didn't turn out to be like a Jesse Jackson character. So, all right. I think that was it. That was it, folks. That concludes the reading of 2 Kings chapter 25. Woohoo! Yeah, bless the readings of his word. Oh, we learned a few things today, huh?
All praise to y'all.
God. So we figured out. Hey, Michael, I went back and read today again. I started going back to when Elijah, when Elijah came into the picture, right?
Mm-hmm.
Say Elijah. Let me just use the words so people can. When Elijah started was that chapter 17. So I
Mm-hmm.
went back to it again this morning and was studying it, and then what I noticed was, remember we were reading all those letters were going back and forth. Now check this out. When when be uh when um when Elijah was up on Mount Horeb, when he had fasted for 40 days 40 nights, and he went up on the same mountain as Moshe, when he went up
Mm-hmm.
Mount more up there, when Yah told him, Yah gave him commandments, these places he was supposed to go to. I need you to go
Yeah.
to, remember, to Syria and anoint Kahazel, so that way he's gonna take out Ben Hadad. That was the purpose of that. And I need you to go and anoint Jehu, because I need Jehu to take out Ahab. So with all of that going on, you have Elisha, his understudy. But remember, before, because Yah had the drought, so all the commandments Yah gave to Elijah, he gave his understudy knew. Elisha knew. So because today is when I peeped it, going back over it, I'm like, oh, the commandments that Yah gave to Elijah up on that mountain, all them people he told him to go visit them and tell them this and anoint this person and anoint this person, anoint this person. Guess what? Elijah died because the prophecies, the drought wasn't over yet. So it was actually Elijah who had to go and do all the performing of the stuff that was told to Elijah on that mountain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so then now the letter makes sense how whatever everything that Yah told him, he had to give it to tell Elijah, and like write it down for Elijah. When this happened, this is gonna happen. The drought is gonna happen, and when the drought happened, when the first rain, this is gonna happen. You have this, deliver this to this king, and when this happened, deliver this to this king. These are the words you're gonna deliver to each king. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
because yeah, I didn't. We read that yesterday, and I didn't peep that. I'm like, whoa, it's Elijah delivering the prophecies, because yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's Elisha delivering the prophecies, some of these prophecies from Elijah. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. What did you think about the Nineveh? Did that make sense to you?
Yeah.
No- Does it make sense to you now?
Yeah. I can see it clear now.
Praise, yeah, praise, yeah.
Is Esther scripture?
I don't read. I gave up the book of Esther maybe 4 years ago. 3 years ago, maybe 3.5 years ago. Yeah, I gave it up because in there everything just seems like one of their books that they stuck in there to introduce, because that's the book you're gonna find the word Jew, 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 Jew all over. That's the word where it's buying. And there were people so afraid of the Jews that the people around started to convert and
Mm-hmm.
become Jews. So in that book has so many things that's wrong, like one of our sisters marrying another king from another nation, and Yah is okay with that, and yeah, it's like everything about it was wrong. And then when Mordecai, he starts off as the, like the, hey, introductory to the person that, and every time he had a problem, never once in the entire book, Mordecai went and prayed to Yah. Every time he had a problem, you see him going and running to to his cousin, to Esther, and then what she do to get her problem solved? You don't see her praying out to Yah. What she do? She go to her husband, the king of Assyria, for him to get it. Can you please give
Yeah,
us that?
that's the.
Amen. So all throughout an entire book, neither one of those people ever called the name Yah. You can't, just like you can't find Yah or El, Yahweh, Elohim, just like you can't find that in the New Testament, you can't find that in the book of Esther. And with all my searching, I was like, wait a minute. I've read this entire thing and I had to go back over and search. And then I said, let me search and see if the word Elohim, Yah, appears anywhere in the book of Esther. It's like, no. Yeah. And then since they never prayed to Yah, they always, each is running to each other. The one man is running to the woman and the woman running to the king. I said, yeah, you know what? Let me leave this book for now. So
Hmm.
yeah, I haven't touched it in a few years.
Yeah, I never touched Esther. I never
Ah,
read it.
so
I
we're
never
we're
read
in
it.
the same. We're in the same. Is that for why? Why?
I don't know. All I
Really?
know is I never. Yep, never read Esther.
No, but I'm saying, is that because you? Hi, E. Thank you for coming up. Face is up. We have Menelek is up and Miguel. Bless you, brothers. Thank you, everyone, for being here on behalf of Soul. Oh, not coming up, but thank you for being here. But yeah, go ahead, Michael. Sorry.
I don't know why that I didn't don't read the Book of Esther. I heard about the Book of Esther. It has some Greek gods in it. Like that's what
Yeah.
I.
Mm-hmm.
Even the word Esther.
Khan, 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 Khan. And then isn't he, according to the scriptures, um, isn't he Darius' father?
Who Esther?
No, no, no. The king, Ahasuerus. According to the scriptures, the Ahasuerus, uh, it says it labels Darius as son of Ahasuerus. So this is what I'm saying. Even the whole timeline, it's like the timeline and everything. It might be right with the as far as they're trying to fit in the timeline with the stuff that was going on over there in Assyria. But the
Hmm.
reason why it doesn't make sense, what they're trying to tell me, while everything we just read in here today, with the destruction, only how look how the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom went so much astray that Yah had us going through all of this, and Nebuchadnezzar is reigning at this time. So while Nebuchadnezzar is reigning, this is the event because Darius' father was ruling before he was ruling. So that would have to be during that time. So you're telling me, yeah, even though we're under punishment, Yah allowed one of our Judite women to go and marry another king, just so what? Just so he can save a few of the Jews living in that city?
Hmm.
Come on, come on, no, not making sense. Not making sense. She has to defile her soul
Uh-huh.
just so y'all can save a few people in the city. Don't make sense. Y'all don't rock like that.
No, you don't.
He want to save you. He'll save you. He'll send a savior. He always did.
Hmm. Like Moses was his right hand. Moses.
Moshe, he said that to Moshe. He said that to Joshua. He said that to Dawid. I have all the verses written down here. I've been studying my butt off all week, just writing and writing and
People
blocking.
always people think the arm is JC. No, the arm is not JC. The
No.
arm is the one that brought the people out of Egypt.
The right. Go ahead.
Moses, right?
No, well, no, the is the power of Yah.
Okay.
So whoever the person is, remember, Moshe, most of the 10 plagues, most of those 10 plagues, it was not Moshe with the rod in his hand, it was Aaron.
Okay.
So the power was in that rod. And when
Yeah.
Moshe did not want to go because he was not fluent in the Hebrew, he
Mhm.
wasn't his leshon, his language, the language, he wasn't fluent. And he's like, oh, you're sending me
Mhm.
to a great people. Well, I don't really know the great people, and you're sending me to them. And I can't, I don't know, I can't. That's his thing. He don't know the Hebrew language that fluently. He knew the Egyptian language, but not the Hebrew. So, and then when he kept refusing, Yah is like, okay, is that your brother? I see your brother coming down the street. And Moshe, they haven't seen his brother Aaron in years because he was over there living with his father-in-law.
Like when he
So he
says
haven't,
that, when he says he delivered the people out of Egypt with his right hand,
right.
it was his right hand Moses, right?
At that point, it was Moshe and Aaron.
Yeah.
And so when Moshe died, now his right hand became Joshua.
Yeah.
Right, so when you look up right hand and you study it and you read it throughout the scripture, you would see the right hand is Yah is not going to use his right hand. It can't reach to it's bigger than the earth. But the thing is,
Yeah.
he puts his power in them. That's why a lot of times when we went to battle, he would tell us when to go to battle. He said, go, and you should not lose one man. So it's like the skill. I heard somebody saying today on maybe not here on another show. They were like, "Oh, how did David, David get all this power? What you some kind of Superman? How you get this? What are you trying to say? What was so special about that?" And I'm like, and the
You
brother,
know, about he ate the ephod. Oh, he did this. He
yeah,
broke the law because he broke ate the ephod. He wore the ephod and ate the showbread.
Khan, Khan, and he's the one that set the order, what they call the order of Melchizedek. Everything was lost. Who reset
Mm.
it? It was David in First Chronicles. You
That's what
read
those
it,
people that say they keep the Torah. They believe in the Torah, but they don't believe in the Tanakh. So they believe in the first 5 books. But where
okay,
you get history from is you get it from the Tanakh, right?
God. And then if that's the case, then af- after the Torah, then close the book, and you have a longer way to go back to track the people, track the
Hmm.
generations. So now you're making it more open for any other nation to claim it.
Yeah, and not really because if you go in the first, if you they just believe the first 5 books, Deuteronomy tells you who is the people that were chosen
Hmm.
above the earth for His name's sake. Deuteronomy 7:7, where He said He chose Israel above all the nations for His name's sake.
Khan. But I'm saying even with the Torah, a lot of people, that's how these people were able to take it and say, hey, it's us. Because all nations and all things have went under subjugation under their own rulers.
Yeah.
I like to give a shout out to we heard Brother Yaudah on the panel. Welcome, brother.
Shalom, brother.
Shalom, shalom, shalom. How you doing? Divine Yah.
Sir,
Well,
yes, sir. Sir, partner.
Yo, just got out the plantation, you know?
Oh man, I hope you dust your feet off.
Con,
Always
con,
dust your feet off when you leave them places. Take your
con,
boots off before you get in the house. God,
con.
well, glad to have you here. How long have you been listening? Have you anything you want to add in? Share.
I was trying to listen earlier at work, but I got busy. And I just popped in just now. So I ain't really heard much.
God, thanks for being here. We're going through
Shalom, Soul, Michael, how y'all doing? Everybody,
yeah.
I'm doing fine.
that's
So
good.
stepped away for a minute. I think he had something to do, so he'll be
Uh,
back. Yeah. So I'm sorry, Michael, if I cut you off. Go ahead.
You can go ahead.
Huh?
You can go ahead.
Oh no. So yeah, just to fill you in a little bit, we were reading today and discovering some more new things, and I was showing them today how where when we were reading Kings, how when it brought up Noah and all the wicked things that was going on with Ahab and with Kazel and Ben Hadad and all the northern kingdom, the wickedness that was going on, and that's when Yah in I think chapter 19 where Yah sent Jonah, because we read there also in that chapter where the king, I think it was Sennacherib, but the or Shalmaneser, one of them, they came and took us from four cities, took us, put us in Assyria, and brought Babylonians because they were ruling over the Babylonians at that time too. That's what people don't understand. Babylonians didn't become big at that time until I mean, when I say Babylonian, I'm talking about the new Babylonian. We're not talking about the one back in the Cush time with the Tower of Babel. They called New Babylonian that time. It was because of the Assyrians, and that's why Job talks about that. Job mentioned that's what the part of the destruction came from the Chaldeans, and then somewhere we're reading the other day, it says if it wasn't for the Assyrians coming up, children of Israel complaining, if it wasn't for the Assyrians making the Chaldeans and giving them the position to get up and take us over, that we basically wouldn't have been in that position. So for me, those are very important clues we should write down, and those are the clues that I wrote down where I started to track the time frame of when Job was happening. And Job was happening, this thing with Job was happening during the time of Babylon.
Khan, Khan, a lot of
Yes, sir.
information. I see.
Yeah, so it was the when they went, so when Jonah went to Nineveh, it was Israelites he was going to. It was the northern kingdom, because we read it today. That's what they were taking. That's where they were scattered. We were there. That was punishment. And after that, Yah scattered Judah. So they were still there, scattered. And yeah. And we even read in in 19, I think it was, we were reading where Yah said, no, he's gonna have mercy and not have them all die, you know, in sin. And that's when Jonah, yeah, that was Jonah's mission. And he didn't want to go, man. He's a Southern King. And he's like, yeah, let him die. Let him die. That's why he kept saying, yeah, 40 days, 40 days. Oh, time's counting down. Time's counting down. Then Yah is like, come on, man. He says, you know, and I think that an example was given, like if, you know, if a farmer has, you know, a whole bunch of sheep and then one of them get away, and then that sheep finally he gets that sheep back, the sheep returns or he get him back, however, and he's loving that sheep and loving that sheep and loving that sheep. Does that mean that he doesn't love all his other sheep? No, he loves it because it was lost and it found its way back home, you know. So for me that's like a beautiful thing. So it's not like, yo, it's not favoritism. It's like, yo, this was a lost sheep, you know. You gotta show some love. Yeah, like some of our people that's still in Christianity. There are a lot of them I'm finding on this clubhouse that they're like in that middle point, you know. Some of them are 50-50, 60-40, 70-30, 80-20, whatever it is. And it's like, Even the 90-10, it's like it's very important still for us, I think, to just show them, because sometimes the things that are written in there without proper understanding, it leaves people to say that the book is false. Oh, it's, bunch of God. It's no, it's just Yah gives the understanding. Okay?
Con. Y'all definitely get the understanding. Yeah, I can see that. I can also see how Jonah felt too, because it's kind of like y'all giving you the spirit to go to O Block, in the middle of O Block, and just spread the word to the brothers out there, which is a very dangerous place. So I can see how he can be like, "Yo, you sending me somewhere real hostile." But that's when you got to trust y'all. So I see that. But when you were speaking about the um, percentage, like 80, 20, 90, 10, I was just thinking like when you were saying that, I was thinking like maybe like a swimming pool or something, and all the water in the pool represent belief in idol stuff, pagan stuff, stuff that's not of Yah. And then you pouring in chlorine, but the pool so big it take a lot. I just was visualizing that, but yeah, um, I think any percentage of a person interested in Yah and Torah is good, because I think ultimately the truth is going to overwhelm and take over.
It
Kind
was
of like
the
when.
truth.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, no, no. Speak. You could talk. You ain't got to mute yourself. Talk.
I was like, sometimes the truth could be used as a weapon.
Yeah, the truth is a weapon. Because we going against lies.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about confounding. It's not about confounding. It's about to spread the word spread the word of Yahweh.
Yeah, that's how I feel about stuff. I'm not really concerned with. uh I mean, it feel good for a person to like get it and be like, yo, this was all lies. This is the truth. This is the Torah, y'all. That feels good to that moment. But I'm not really interested in debating and doing all that type of stuff. Like you say, I'm more concerned with just spreading it. That's a lot more.
It's the Most High's. It's Yahweh's. Um. It's Yahweh's. It's Yah. It's Yahweh's job to open their eyes or not. It's not our job. So if they don't get it now, they will get it later. If Yahweh allows them to get it.
I feel you on that. I like to give a good sincere effort when I be doing the stuff. But ultimately, it's what you said. Y'all move that person if he gonna, if that's what he want to do. So
Ah. He knows the spirit and the heart. He knows that what that person want. Listen, if he knows what that person want, there are some people. For instance, you have people out there. Let's say a molester, a rapist, right? Let's take it deep and dark, right? They're out there, and a lot of them, especially the ones that don't get caught for a long time, let's say, they're out there and they lurk and they plan, right? So now,
Scripture
and
says that.
a lot of them have a regular job. They're teachers, priests, lawyers, doctors. They have regular job, but they are there and they're doing their evil. So now, uh, Are they not evil? Because hey, they take care of their family. They probably love their family. They probably take care of their family. Do all the necessary thing. Oh, he's a great teacher. Blah blah blah, and always help with the kids and all that. And he's got all these things, right? But where is it? And I think I went off point with what you were saying, Yahuda, because I had something. I had something I brought up. I wanted to read. But go ahead. Go ahead with your what you guys were saying. Michael, you were gonna say something. Sorry about that, guys. Go ahead, Michael.
You can go ahead, sis.
No, so I was gonna read. I was gonna say something when we talk about the name. When the scripture says, "Yeah, I say no, the last days, all shall know my name," right? And then we have this
Yes.
group of people out there who say they are their children, but in their religion, they are not supposed to call the name, and they say Hashem. Am I correct?
Yes, that's what they say.
Khan. So a word to the warning to our people. This is to our people out there. Do not follow the other people's doing. They are not, if they are not the chosen, and if you really believe that we are the chosen, then y'all should know everything they doing is opposite Torah, just because they paint the picture and it's always been taught that they're keeping the laws. I am telling you, you can talk to any maid, stop one day and just talk to any Latin maids or any of those who be doing hotels and rooms and maid service and cleaning homes and all that stuff. I talked to two Latina women, separate different times, and they both told me it was like the story was identical. It was like almost an and this is what they told me. I already knew. So, and they would tell me one of the first ones sit down, and she was like, mm-mm, never again. She said she told her agency, we're talking in Spanish, and she said she told her agency, más nunca me puede mandar ahí. Más nunca, yo no voy a mandar, no, más nunca me puede mandar a trabajar con ningún judíos ni nada de eso. No. Yo, she was spitting, and I'm like laughing my butt off. And they tell the same story. These people are so filthy, 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 filthy. Bath is not something that is a regular thing in their house. And you have to see what they do to a lot of the suckers out here. They do it all around, all over. But when the Shabbat come, they have, let's say they had something plug in, and they were cooking, but the cooking didn't get done, but they wanted to fit. They would have, now they can't touch the stove, they can't turn off the fire, they can't do nothing, they can't pull out the plug. They literally open up their door and see any random person, and it's usually, it won't be one of theirs because they're inside, right, when the sun go down on Friday night.
Hmm.
If we but anybody else, somebody like me, and somebody, man, I had, well, my daughter-in-law's mother did, man, I was so upset at her because that happened to her too, and she went in that side the door and pulled out their plug for them. You know, it's like, yo, this is crazy. But that's what they do. It's like that's something they won't do nothing. Y'all saw the news last year. What happened? Right here in Brooklyn, right here in my turf. They had they were cooking. It's a family of nine. A family of nine. They were cooking on the I guess it was the Friday, and whatever they had baking or cooking, I don't know what appliance, I forget, they had cooking it. But what happened? The sun went down, and now their thing is they can't pick up no phone. They can't. I mean, all the silly things the Torah tells you against. I can show a scripture where that it tells you, it'll knock that out and tell you that that is no good, right? So the entire family, do you know, none of them touching it off? I guess they were looking out the window trying to find everybody, but in the neighborhood, they look, everybody's locked up in their house too, just like them. And guess what? Do you know none of them unplugged, turned the thing off? All nine of them died. The whole bloody freaking house burned down with them, just because they were trying to observe the Shabbat in their way. You tell me what,
Mm-mm.
how madness is that? The entire family, 9 of them dying in the fire because they didn't want to break their laws. But what does Yah tell you when you're walking on a Shabbat? If you see your neighbors, their ass fall into a ditch, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna help him out, or are you gonna not help him out? Of course you're gonna help him out, because that is his bread and butter. So when I say the what they're understanding, the way they're understanding the Shabbat is not the way I understand it. And the way they're practicing it, and so I try to tell these people, do not do what they do. Don't follow the moon. Don't do none of it. Don't follow their calendars. Don't do follow their holidays. The whole Purim, that was made up in the book of Esther.
Mm-hmm.
Without the book of Esther, Yah gave us 7 holidays, and in the book of Esther, they added a new one, the Purim. And the small hats, they practice that. I don't know how many
I think
holidays they have. I think they have 9.
Judaism follow Hanukkah too.
This is what I'm saying. They have a lot of them. You would see them. They're burning 9 candles. And I even showed my fishing buddy that he's half Italian, half Greek. And I was to show, because one day we're fishing and a car pulled up and parked in the lot there by the pier, and they had the whole sign, with the Jew, and he can't stand them. He can't stand them either. I'm like, yo, it's a lot of white people can't stand them. But anyway, and we're talking. I said, Tom, I said, look at that. Tell me what's wrong with that picture there.
If I
The
don't
what?
see it in the
Huh?
if I don't see that holiday in the Old Testament, I'm not gonna celebrate it.
God, God. But some of them, they do it with the 9 candles, and
Yeah.
that's what I was telling him. I said, count how many candles are there. And he's like, that's 9. I said, yeah, the Torah says 7. I said, we are told how to make it. The menorah, it's 7. Menorah is we're basically light of light.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Nora, Nor is light. Nora is like the encompassing of light, and Na in front of it, it's like the we, you know. Or it also means he or we, the N in front of it. So it could be he,
Yeah, I could show
referring
scriptures that could crush
to Yah.
that Sabbath, their Sabbath teaching. They way off.
Mm, yeah, they're very off. So yeah, I urge anyone not to follow those people and their teachings. And so I was bringing up chapter 11, 34, verse 34. What does it say on there? Hey, anybody, any of you guys, if you're calling out and saying you're praying to Hashem because you don't want to call on Yah's name, then find another name to call him, because I'm going to tell you, First Chronicles chapter 11, verse 34 gives the genealogy of, we had an Israelite whose name was, Hashem. It says the sons of Hashem the Gizonites, Jonathan the son of Sage the Hararite, and it keeps going. But Hashem just happens to be the name of an Israelite, and he's got his genealogy listed. But Yah, there is only one Yah. Only one Yah. Nobody else named Yah but Yah. Everybody else have Yah in their name. Not everybody else, but other people have Yah in their name, and that's why we're called the children who are called by his name. They have Yah or El in their name. Most of them. But yeah, so Hashem, you might just be calling out on an Israelite, and you better pray it wasn't a wicked one. So yeah, names matter.
It has power in it.
Kind,
Life and death is in the
kind.
power of the tongue. That's what you say. It can lead you to life or death. Right? Or am I quoting that wrong?
No, I think you're absolutely right. Right? The tongue cuts like a knife. Words cut like a knife. Yeah, I always used to say that as a kid. I'd rather somebody stab me or shoot me than the words that, because I used to be very sensitive. Very, very sensitive. when I was young, and like hurtful words used to cut me really bad. And I used to say I would have rather them shoot me or stab me than say that to me.
Mm-hmm.
And now more than ever, I understand that hey, I might not knew how, you know, intelligent of the words I thought as a kid, but as I got older, it's like, yo, I was on point. I was saying something deep then that I didn't know, because it does. And that's what Yah tells us a lot of times. We don't have to pick up a weapon. We just pick up his words and we slay them with the word.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I don't know where's Soul. I don't know if he's gonna be shutting down this room or what's going on. I see no one else is coming up. So Michael, I don't know. I think I don't know if Menelek may have started. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna see. Guess I'll find another room to go to because it gets too contentious sometimes in those things, man.
Yeah.
I like I like to follow scriptures. Those
Menelek
scriptures.
opened up a room.
Yeah, but I don't like I was saying lately. It's been getting contentious, and I'm not into the whole cursing out and the whole disrespecting and all that. I can't. I
Mm-hmm.
don't like to listen to that. Lately, it's been that, so I'm trying to avoid any of that because it troubles my soul when I have to go back to my studies.
Yeah, it does the same thing to me.
So we'll see. Since I guess since Soul is not here, hopefully, well, maybe he'll be back, but I'm gonna be checking out. And I'd like
Yeah.
to,
Yeah.
maybe I'll see you in another room, the next room, but until then, shalom.
Shalom.
And shalom to Kakum, E, Face, and me, and that's you, Miguel. Yeah, and to everyone else who
Shalom to the
attended
whole
and
room.
listening. Peace and blessings. Shalom. Barakata.
Shalom.